The next sectioning example that I'm going to cover is another of the questions that you had to complete for your tutorial. I'll just be going over the solution and how you get to the solution for this question. So we have two views given of a guide. We have a top view as well as a side view on the right over here. We then have a section line AA through the center of our guide, and this should give us some detail as to what happens on the inside here, as well as what's happening in these two sections here and here. So for this one, it's a simple section line that's through a symmetrical component. So we're going to project across from our side view, and we're going to project down from our top view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the basic outline of the component, essentially the extremes from the top and the bottom. So this is the top of this circular surface here, and this line here is the top of this rectangular surface there, which is slightly recessed. Okay, so we'll then project some important information down from our top view, where this is either extent of the component, and we have this section here. When we take our section through this component, we're going to be looking at this half of the component from this angle. So we're going to be seeing this edge, we're going to be seeing these lines here and that edge there. So we can project down the lines that we're going to see. I'm then going to complete the detail for this section of the drawing before I move on to the next section. If we were just drawing the side view here, or a front view here, we would see this edge over here. But since we are cutting through the center, we don't see any edge in this section here, so our line here only goes down to the surface, or that point. Then on the inside, we're going to see this edge here, as well as this face over here. We see this curve, but because it's a curve, it's not represented with any lines from that view. And we see this edge as well. Okay, so as we're looking in, this is this section here, this area here is this part of this curve, this area here is your face over here, and then this area is the other side of that curve. So that's the complete detail for this section. We'll then move on to our second section and start adding in our sectioning lines. So first we'll just complete the outline. You can do these in any order, it just generally makes more sense to me to do the outline and then fill in the relevant detail. Then we have these two sections here, which are counterbore holes, and we can tell from the side view, this line here and this line here, that our counterbore holes are counterbored to different depths. Okay, so because we've only been given a top view and a side view, it's actually impossible to tell, there isn't enough information to tell which hole is counterbored to which depth. So what we'll do is we'll just assume what would make logical sense in this case. If you were doing this drawing for a real life application, you would go and speak to the person who's designed the component, or you would look at the physical component itself and determine which counterbore goes where. But for now, we'll just do the shallower counterbore first, followed by the deeper counterbore. And we can then just fill in the vertical detail. Okay, the next step would be to section the component. However, I haven't looked enough at the side view and I've missed out a detail over here, which can also be seen by this hidden detail here. So we're going to add that extra detail in. We'll just have to modify the drawing a bit. We're going to project these lines down here, and we can project that across. So that guide has a counterbore on the bottom of it as well. So I'm just going to erase some of these lines. Obviously you want to avoid erasing as much as possible because it does make your drawing a bit messy, but sometimes it can't be avoided. Okay, and that's what our completed drawing would look like, with the exception of the sectioning lines, which I will add now. Again, we use our 45-degree set square, and we try and keep the spacing as equal as possible. And with the magic of editing, our sectioning is now complete. So we can see that we cut along this face, so we have sectioning in that area. These sections do not get cut or intersected by the section line, so we don't have any sectioning over here. Then this whole section is intersected by the sectioning line, so we have our sectioning, the same with these sections here. And then last but not least, we will see these edges where you get a change in diameter on your circles that are bored. And that is the completed drawing.